If you've ever written a song and felt stuck, or just felt like it's never really reached its true potential, there's usually a very real reason as to why that's happening. So many songwriters just dive straight into the songwriting process without thinking about the most efficient way to unlock the best song that you can write. And that's the exact reason why most songs actually fall apart halfway through or never reach their true potential. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you the 5 worst ways that I have found to start the songwriting process after writing over 1,000 songs and been doing this for the past 10 years. And at the end of the video, I'm going to share with you my method that I've found to use incredibly well and has been very efficient in the songwriting process. It's going to allow you to unlock that next level in your songs and finally take your songs from good to great. Hey, Danny here, founder of Songwriters International. We help songwriters develop their craft by sharing tips, tricks, and techniques to help you with all things songwriting. Okay, number 1 is the instrument and mumble approach. This is where you grab a guitar, you go to a piano, and you simply just start mumbling out ideas without any clear direction as to what you're actually trying to do. And a lot of the times you're just hoping for the magic to appear out of nowhere. Now this can be a great approach for the first 5 or 10 minutes of the songwriting process, but to actually rely on it for the entire journey from start to finish is where you're going to find yourself stuck. You're going to likely hit writer's block, your stories are not going to be very compelling, they're not going to be clear from start to finish, and you're oftentimes just going to have a song that either never reached its true potential, or as I've mentioned, you've got stuck, hit writer's block, and you can't get any further. And I can be sure that you'll end up forcing the song into a shape, into being finished, but it never reaching its true potential. You need a clear, concise process if you're using this method. Number 2 is writing the entire lyric before anything musical. Now this might sound productive and great that you're going to write a lyric from start to finish for a song and you've basically got half of that track written, but it very rarely works very well. If you just write a lyric without any sense of melody, rhyming, emotion musically, you're going to have to go back and almost force every line, every lyric to actually fit into the music later on in that songwriting process. And it starts to become this puzzle that's not really designed to fit, and if it does fit, you've really had to force it in. I see songwriting very easily in that lyrics and melody are the foundations to a great song, and I feel those two things should be written at the same time, and one should not outweigh the other, and they should grow together, not independently. Number 3 is writing completely alone when you don't need to. Okay, so it is time for the controversial one that you may or may not agree with. But writing songs on your own is one of the worst ways to start if you're doing this all the time, especially if you have the option to collaborate with somebody else. Some of my very best songs have come from collaboration, where you have that fresh energy, fresh angle, and just a new way of looking at the songwriting process through someone else's eyes. And just to back this up, I've got the data for you. A 2014 study found that around 90% of the top 10 Billboard Hot 100 songs were written by 2 or more writers, and almost half were written by 4 or more. This isn't just a coincidence. Collaboration unlocks creativity and unlocks new songs. And the great thing about collaboration is you have someone else there in the room, where if you're on your own, you may put that lyric in, you may put that melody in, you may think that this is the best production idea, but now you've got to bounce it off someone else. You almost have to ask someone else's permission as to whether this should fit in the song or if they can come up with something better, and you're constantly pushing yourself. If you put this idea down, they want to level up, and you keep going at it, so then that serves the song and you become a better songwriter and you get a better song at the end of it. Now, just before I dive into number 4, if you're a songwriter who wants personal help, guidance, support in the lyrics, melody, or in the pitching of your songs to other projects, then I've got some space at the moment to book a one-to-one call with me, so you can do that in the description below or in the comments section. Book a call directly. We'll dive into your songwriting process, we'll see what some of those obstacles are, and we'll see what the best next steps are for you to get you to your songwriting goals. So go ahead, you can book that call below. Alright, number 4 is producing the full track before writing the song. Now this is super common amongst the producers that might be watching this video. We've all done it, including myself. And you build a full polished instrumental, then try to write a melody and lyric over it. What is the problem? You've again removed your creative freedom. You're now boxed into the structure of the production, the mood, the energy, the emotion. You've got to now write to that production. And it's similar again to how you would do this with the lyric. You've got to put the melody to fit inside the lyric. And it's the same with the production. You've now got to write a melody and a lyric that captures the production. Now, making a rough demo or a rough idea is absolutely fine, and I do that a lot myself. But producing a near finished production actually starts to make the songwriting feel a little bit more forced and restrictive. It's much easier to make a great production around a song that you've written rather than doing it the other way where you're trying to fit a lyric and a melody to a pre-produced song. Number 5 is being authentic to the song. One of the worst ways to actually start the songwriting process is to be authentic and not real to the song by trying to write an emotion, a vibe that you just don't really connect with, if the truth be told. And if you're not writing from a place of truth, 9 times out of 10, the listener is going to feel that instantly as well. Authenticity makes writing far easier. It gives the lines more power. It gives you a bag full of ideas just to write from, because you're being real, you're being honest, you're being raw. If you've been through an emotion, let's say a love song, it's about heartbreak. If you've been through that yourself, you just need to tell the song how you want it to be. You're going to write that lyric honestly. You're going to write that melody heartfelt, and it is going to come through the song. And you're just going to say exactly what you want to say without having to overthink it. So my tip there is just to write what's true. Don't try and do something that you can't relate to, because now you're trying to put yourself in shoes that you have never been in. And into my bonus for you, which is my method to how I actually write songs. Now I've gone through the 5 worst ways. What is the way that I would recommend to you? What is the way that I've found to work an absolute treat when you're in that songwriting process? And it's what I call the PPS system. Now, PPS stands for planning, preparation, and songwriting. So what this actually looks like is before we pick up an instrument, we go to a piano, we write a melody, we even write a lyric, or go to the production. We don't do any of that. We just take 5 or 10 minutes. That's all we need. And we get clear on the idea, okay? We plant the seed like we're building a flower out here, and we're going to water it. We put in the seed, and then we can build upwards. So figure out, what is the idea? Is it a quote? Is it a 6-word story? Is it a horse name that you have as a title? Is it something that you have found online that is a short headline news? What is it that you're going to take and then build from? Once we've got that, we're going to get clear on what do we actually want to say. What do you want that listener to think, feel, or understand by the time that they've got to the end of the song? Another way to put this is, imagine you have the listener right in front of you. They've just listened to your song, and you say to them, what did you think, feel, or understand now that you've heard my song? And whatever they say should be exactly what you wanted to deliver in that song. So the simplest way to do that is to then work backwards and figure that out first, so that you can deliver that in your lyric and your melody and your music. So once we've got clear on the idea, the actual purpose of the song, we can then dissect that into portions. We can say, what is verse 1 going to say? What is the chorus going to say? What is verse 2 then going to build on? And now we've got a clear roadmap, as if we're driving a car and we know exactly what turn we need to take, at what point we need to take that. And we're going to have a far better song by doing this. And then into stage 3, you're into the songwriting stage. Okay, you just write now what you've written down in your plan. Especially if you're being authentic, it's going to be 10 times easier, because you're being real, you're being honest, you've planned out the song, and now you're just going to go and deliver it for the listener. So now you know the 5 worst ways that I recommend you not to start the songwriting process. I also shared with you the PPS system. But what do I do after that? How do I actually go about writing a song from start to finish? Because that is stage 1 of the songwriting process. How do I put it all together? I've got a video for you, which I walk you through the entire process of how I write a song, from start through to finish, and what that journey looks like from planning through to songwriting, lyrics, melody, music, rhyme, structure, and everything else. So somewhere around here, you can click that video, go and watch that, walk through. If you want to book a call specifically with me as well, 1-to-1, and we can dive through your songwriting and what you're doing, you can do that below in the description or in the comments section, and I'd love to speak with you. So go ahead, click that video, or go and book a call.